Okay, what's going on, everybody? Mitch here with another episode of the PTBO Housing Show. If you're new to the show, we're here every week talking statistics, politics, the provincial housing picture, all types of things to do with housing and economics. And this week we are doing our market dive. So it's the start of June. We're looking back on May's statistics, and I'm going to try and keep this episode relatively quick for everybody. We're going to dive into the 7-day review. We're going to look at the month's stats, May totals for the Peterborough area. And then we're going to take a look at what's going on in Toronto and just a few brief notes about the next 3 months picture here. So starting off the 7-day in our area, inventory is coming on rather quickly at this point in time. The last 7 days when I log onto our system here and look at what's happening in the Peterborough County area, 104 new listings to 46 firm sales. So that's a net of 48 new listings. That means the total inventory rose by that amount just by looking at the new listings versus firm sales in the same period, which is one of the stronger numbers I've seen in 2022, looking at this on a weekly basis. So the rate at which inventory is coming on is staying steady and or increasing. An update I did 2 weeks ago, I had indicated that number was actually down a little bit. And this here you go, here you have it. The beauty of doing week over week updates is that, of course, we'll be privy to trends first, but of course, can't be premature in calling them before they've established themselves a couple weeks in a row. So that month or that 1 week segment that we had a couple weeks ago where we saw the amount of new inventory that came on net was a little lower. Here we go. It's getting, shattered. A couple weeks later, it looks like inventory is continuing to come on hot and heavy here. So basically, can't call a trend that we've seen a bottom yet. It appears that new listings are coming on quicker than sales are happening on an ongoing basis here, heading into the start of June. Average sale price was $722,000. That's still up 18%. Year over year, because we were at 608 last year. I'm just flipping back to my notes from the middle of May, and it looks like we had an average sale price at the start of May of around 729. So a slight decrease, but statistically speaking, basically trending flat here on a month over month basis. Looking at the month as a whole, sales down 42% on volume. So we had 195 sales in May of 2021 in the city of Peterborough, and we saw 113 sales in May of 2022. So that number right there, 42%, seems to be getting mirrored across Ontario right now. I'm hearing similar numbers around the GTA, that sales volume down over 40% in and around that range, which is, of course, is a massive decrease. So it's indicative of what's going on with buyers continuing to take the wait and see approach, while sellers continue to try and make their moves and cash in on what were record numbers. Our months of inventory, that's the amount of active listings at the end of the month, divided by the total sales that happened in the same period, the same 30-day period, was 1.5 months of inventory. That's the highest number we've seen in over a year now. There was no point last year in the city when we even hit that 1 month mark. So we're well above into the 1.5, and as I said earlier, it shows that we're trending higher. There's a chance if we keep going at the pace we're going that we could start nearing towards that 2 months of inventory towards the start of next month. Kawartha Lakes region down 37% on a sales basis as well in terms of volume. Their months of inventory is at 2.1, whereas it was 0.8 8 at this time last year. So indicative of the inventory levels, how quick they're rising. Kawartha Lakes doubled from last year. But more importantly, Peterborough's number, we were at 0.6 not too long ago. So we've seen our inventory double here. Relative to the ratio of new listings versus sales just in the last couple of months. What's going on in Toronto? I got a quote here from Nazma Ali. She's a very popular GTA realtor and Twitter figure. And I got a quote from her on her Twitter saying, if you get one showing a week, you're ahead. So that's obviously sort of some echoing of what's going on in the GTA markets right now. Even though their prices were only down 3% in the last month, if volumes keep dropping the way that they have been, that number's going to stand to move quite a bit more. And Toronto proper, it has been the one that has dropped the least. We're seeing a lot of the surrounding regions on the outskirts of Toronto, talking Brampton, Milton, and whatnot, where numbers, median sales figures have been down in the mid to high teens, some areas up to 20% on a median basis from the peak up to this point. So prices continuing to drop, inventory continuing to rise, buyer sentiment continuing to be stuck on the wait and see approach. Timelines and future looking focus. Interest rates up 50 basis points. The Bank of Canada continuing to have an aggressive approach or signaling that rates will continue to rise throughout the year. So affordability is going to continue to get tougher, even though these prices are dropping. A lot of recessionary pressures looming that could have a further negative effect on people's ability to get loans and leverage themselves in this market. And lastly, still an ongoing risk of missed closings and any sort of domino effect there. As we see individuals who extended themselves very far during the peak periods, having troubles at this point in time with appraisals not lining up. And even though we haven't felt it here in Peterborough yet, I keep hearing a lot about it in the GTA region, and how much any of what's going on down in the GTA will make its way here is hard to say. It doesn't always. I go back to the subprime, or pardon me, the foreign buyers tax in 2017 in Toronto, and they took a pretty good hit. And our city here didn't really ever feel it and didn't statistically see what happened there happen here, even though it did slow down a little bit. So I liken it this way, is that to act like there's nothing going on here in Peterborough and it's business as per usual would be somewhat foolish when things are so bad right now in Toronto. I think of it as though there's a forest fire just a couple of towns away, and you see the smoke, but everyone's acting as though nothing's going on. And although we don't definitely know that the fire would ever make it here, because there could be measures put in place to stop it, nonetheless, I think we definitely have to be aware of what is happening. And I would say the trend is more likely that we could see continued rise in inventory here and continued price pressure, at least in the highest price brackets. And I will say, based on an experience, a couple of experiences recently with some lower price properties in Peterborough below the average price, there still is a very strong current for affordable property. So even though the top and the mid sections of our market and all the stuff in the GTA is getting hit, fast and hard, there still is a real sort of jet stream down along the bottom price band in our market, because of course that's just where people's incomes actually can still afford to buy, and where there's a massive housing demand and shortage. So if you're a seller out there and you're still looking to sell something, below 600,000 and especially below 500,000, you're probably still going to have a relatively easy time getting a good result there. And for buyers in that range, it's still competitive. So it's a bit of a split up market right now. So I'm going to wrap for this week. If anybody has any questions, put them down below. If you've been enjoying the show, please share it. Give me a thumbs up. It helps promote this out to other people looking for this information. And if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe, and I'll look forward to chatting with everybody next week.